podcast. I'm Danny, and today we'll be discussing my awesome catch up with my best mate in Bali. I've decided I have to do a pod on it. I can't not. Obviously, there is a lot of people that know when me and my best mate get together, we get up to a bit of mischief, but lo and behold, it was anything but. Well, I mean, I'm not going to lie. There was definitely some things that happened. Apologies, I'm sitting on a squeaky chair and I've just realized this now, but we're not going to stop. It is freaking freezing where I am right now, like 1,000,000,000% wish I was back in 38 degrees, whinging like a mofo because this is ridiculous. Like every morning I wake up and it's just not subsiding. Like it's freaking freezing and you just don't want to get out of bed, you don't want to go to work, you don't want to do anything. So yeah, look, it's not making working from home easy. I think I've definitely got 2 pairs of pants on right now. I've got thermals, a t-shirt, a jumper, a beanie. I'm wearing a beanie right now. Oh God, it just gets worse, doesn't it? So anyway, as we left off last pod, I was stressed out. The trip from Phuket to Bali was just taking way too long, in my opinion. It was very unorganized, and that, I don't know, was that because I had like very little sleep, or is that because of Scoot Airways, who I don't mind, but it's just like, oh my gosh, you actually start to think that of course you're on an island because people move at a snail's pace. So obviously, you know, the woman fell over and tripped in someone else's pee in the toilet. She was freaking annoying. I mean, entitled was just an understatement. I had a lot of feedback on the fact that I called her that, but she just like, oh, I can't. If anyone pissed me off the whole trip, it was definitely her. And for little things, like just because she wasn't, I don't know how to describe her. She asked for assistance when she didn't need assistance. She was obviously milking the fact that people in Thailand and Asia are very friendly and they will help. But like she just took it to another level. And I think in Singapore, when I had like 20 minutes to find a gate where I didn't know where I was stressed to the max. And she was in a wheelchair getting a escorted situation. I was furious. If I had just like a smidgen of extra time in Singapore, I would have gone to Popeye's Chicken. That was there. I ran past it, took a photo for a friend of mine. I was so like, oh my gosh, it's just there. Why can I not have it? Imagine if I stopped to order Popeye's Chicken, or even like brought the chicken through security to board the plane with it. There's huge signs on all the aircrafts that basically say, do not eat anything other than brought or food that we've given you on this flight. Like, oh, I would have just shot myself in the foot and then got mad about it because I really wanted Popeye's Chicken. But anyway, I don't know. It was just like a whole scene. And so obviously by the time I started to gradually, and I'm telling you, it was like a 5-hour trip day that was spread across 2 different flights. So I was already kind of exhausted. But I was happy because at the other end of it, a best mate was going to be there. And not only like our best mate, but my best mate. And this is someone that like for 25 plus years has been in my life. So, I mean, I'm talking like finish your sentence, know what you're thinking. Like I have hit the jackpot with my friend with him, like my friendship with him, is because if anything ever falls down in my sort of realm of friends that I make or whatever, you know, things don't work out, I know that I've always got a friend in him. And we obviously have like tiffs, not often. I'd probably say like we'd have 1 or 2 tiffs in 25 years that were anything decent. One of which was when he actually started seeing somebody else, like he was dating somebody and didn't tell me. And I was mad about it. But in the hindsight of everything, like I retaliated like a mofo. If any of you are listening that obviously was there in 2019 when that happened, it was like the longest like 6 weeks of my life because I am a Taurus girly. That's my star sign. I'm a stubborn bull. But like this was a very big disaster of a collapse in friendship. I mean, we worked together, we walked home together, we did everything together. And so for me to be mad at him for starting to see someone that he didn't tell me about and I caught him, I was mad. And it was a case of like the avoidance was so obvious. I was a bitch. But everyone around us knew that we were feuding. And it was literally something that had taken, you know, we'd never fought. So we didn't know how to navigate it. It was just horrible. Anyway. when I started booking this whole trip through Asia, I got to the point where I was coming from Phuket back to Australia and New Zealand. And I just basically said to him, hey, look, you can obviously have me in Brisbane for 6 days. I can spend time with family, friends, you name it. That's a whole different thing. Brisbane, like I said, is not a destination for me. It's a home. It's where I've spent a huge chunk of my life. So it's not like it's anything like a holiday. And I just simply said to him, if I stopped in Bali for 6 nights, did you want to join me? And he thought about it. And then I swung the idea to my mum and I was like, I've literally told him, this is kind of a little bit of a vague plan. However, there's huge sales right now from Australia to Bali. It would barely be $300 return, which is disgusting. Like, that's loose change, you know. And I'm coming in from Singapore. I think it was like $69, $79 to go from Singapore to Denpasar. For us, Bali's not, I know I say this that, you know, Brisbane's home, but Bali is still a very untouched place. We go there, we get drunk, we do all the treatments, we have all the food, we then go home again. But this was a little bit different, obviously, because we've been friends forever. He was actually a friend who went to Bali in 2017, or was it 2016, for the first time that we went. So I've been multiple times since, so has he. We actually hadn't been together since that first trip. So it took him, I'll say 30, 35 hours of thinking about it, and he had booked. He was like, yeah, cool, let's go meet in Bali. I want to hear all about your adventure. I want to have, like, you know, one-on-one time hanging out with you. It's the best because, like, you guys might not know this, but even though we've been friends for 25 years, we've actually not lived in the same country for most of our friendship. We've been long-distance besties. And it's to the point where the audio notes are like 10 minutes, 20 minutes. You know, we talk several times a day. If we haven't heard from each other, it's a problem. I'm like, where the fuck are you? What are you doing? So the fact that that morning I was up super early to go to meet him in Bali, he was already at the airport. And then there was this silence where he was in the air traveling to Bali and I was like struggling to get to Bali. So yeah, we booked and we didn't really tell anyone. We were just like, it's not really like a trip that you need to announce to everyone. If anything, our friendship is super on the down low. We barely post anything about each other. We don't tag each other in stupid shit. Like, we're not those types of friends. I don't know. It just works for us. And I always read like little things about how the best friends are the quiet friendships, like the ones that people don't really realize. And that's exactly it. There's barely any photos of us. So we were kind of like, okay, let's go to Bali and let's like make a bit of a noise and like post photos and, you know, take, be in memories and whatnot. So yeah, look, I was really excited and I think it could really start showing once I was getting closer to Denpasar. We both booked a hotel and I specifically said to him, when you start arriving at this hotel, please tell them that your bestie is arriving and coming in a later flight, 2 hours, 3 hours later, and see if we can get rooms side by side. I think I actually missed the fact that he arrived and he got that message because we weren't put in rooms together. But I'll get to that in a minute. When we were booking all of this, we actually went through, is it Angoda, that website where things are disgustingly cheap. And I don't know, like, I think, you know, we've stayed in Bali that many times that it's not really, we know what to expect. So if something's like, and I think it was $140 for 6 nights, like that's how disgustingly cheap it was. However, they keep sending us these stupid promotions and the price kept getting cheaper and cheaper, where I think at one point we were about to pay $16 a night. And I'm thinking, okay, I've just traveled the whole way through Thailand, in my perspective, stayed like, you know, 16 nights, paid, you know, I don't know, $60, sometimes $20 a night, like nothing major. But then I was thinking, oh, you know, this is Bali. It's the water's a little bit more dirtier. It's a little bit more, I don't know. It's a bit, it's not grosser. Like there's definitely parts of Bali where it's stunning. But I sort of knew what to expect because this hotel in particular is one that I had traveled to with different friends, not with this friend, of course. So, yeah, he was excited. He was like, okay, let's do that. So throughout the website of Angoda, once you book a hotel, they actually offer you a whole bunch of other deals, and one of which was a driver from the airport to your accommodation. I think it was $9. Like, again, not even $10. So He lands, he gets his driver, everything's easy. He gets to the hotel, he starts sending me photos, loves it, blah, blah, blah. Everything's fine. So then I start landing and it's hot. I'm obviously in a different outfit. I've traveled already. So I'm like trying to think about, how do I want to, I haven't seen him for like a year. So, well, is it a year? I feel like it is. Maybe it's not. So I was like, oh, what am I going to wear? What am I going to wear? Blah, blah, blah. So I wheel my trolley with my luggage into this wheelchair toilet, and there's maintenance men in the female toilets in Dempensar Airport, and they're just like doing lighting in the roof or some shit. And I said to this girl, can you just stand on the other side of this door because the door's not shutting? And can you just let me know if someone's coming and I'll just get changed? This girl was none the wiser. She was completely fine with it. She was like, yeah, cool. So here I am getting changed into like, jandals, singlet, shorts, starting to like ease into the fact the temperature is still 1,000,000 degrees. And there's people coming and going, and I'm like, fuck, get me the hell out of here. Sweat coming out everywhere. I'm like, oh my God, this is a nightmare. I go out to where the main arrivals area is, and there's just hundreds. If you've been to Dempensar Airport, you know that all the friggin' people that are trying to get your attention to take their taxis, oh, it's a bloody nightmare. And here I am squinting, looking for a sign that says Danny, and I'm like, oh my God, this is a fuck nightmare. I wish I didn't do this. I wish I could just get out of the airport and just go and flag a cab, whatever. But so anyway, I'm messaging this outfit that has provided a driver, and I'm like, the driver's not here, blah, blah, blah. And so there's a whole delay, and I'm getting really mad at this stage because I'm like, I could be at the hotel by now, but I'm not. Anyway, they said to us, oh, he's about here. And this is where they took a photo of where he was. He's literally sitting in the gutter with the sign facing down. And I'm like, there's a reason why it's $9 to get a fucking driver in Bali. Anyway, I get in this super air-conditioned vehicle eventually and start driving through the streets of Kuta to get to the hotel, and I sent my bestie my location pin. So he's tracking me. He's like, you're nearly here. And I'm like, oh, it's fucking exciting. It's like, oh my God, the best thing I have ever experienced is catching a friend in a different country. But like, not just any friend, like a friend that knows his way around, but also someone that's disgustingly independent, like he doesn't give a shit. He'll do whatever he wants. So I'm pulling into the reception area of the hotel, about to get out of this minibus. He's standing there with 2 cans of Bintang, which is the national beer of Bali. And I get out and I just fling my arms around him. I just give him this massive hug. And I'm like, oh my fucking God, I made it. And he's like, if you did this the other way around, like say if you did 6 days in Bali and then took off to Phuket and went the other way, back through Thailand, down to China, back down to Auckland, it actually wouldn't have meant the same thing. It was kind of like, oh my God, you did this whole adventure by yourself and now you get to spend 6 days somewhere with a bestie who can just kind of like help. I'm not on the bones of my ass. I'm just like exhausted at this stage. Like clothes need washing. I need a hot shower. Like I've been 16 days with no hot water kind of shit. But yeah, so I checked in and I was a little bit cranky because obviously the rooms weren't side by side and I was standing there like, why have you done this? He says to me, now look, we know what the expectation is with Balinese hotel rooms, so my standards were quite low, and this is fine. And I was looking at him like, why? They fling this door open and my heart fell out of my ass. I was just like mortified. I just thought, oh, you're joking. This is like bottom of the barrel pittance. Anyway, we went out, had a couple of drinks, obviously got on it. It was like a really cool catch-up evening. I went to this strange restaurant with him where we had been in the past and the food was half decent. I don't know why, but I ordered pork belly and the stupid pork belly came out like it'd been 3 times through the air fryer. Like this thing was shriveled. It was dry, shriveled. I was thinking, oh, if this is like how this trip's going to go, I'm going to be really mad. Anyway, go back to the room. We're absolutely exhausted. Obviously, I've gone through a couple of time zones and he is excited to be here, but we're just disgustingly drunk, like we've caught up. It's like the most exciting thing. I was sort of like, I'm one of those people that's very apprehensive about getting into bed at a hotel. Like I've literally just come from luxury in Phuket. Like that bed was a stunning cloud. It was a cloud in the sky. I freaking loved it. And then I was looking at this bed and I was like, oh, it makes you want to sleep with the door open just because you're unsure if you're going to like catch something. So anyway, the next morning, it wasn't until I started catching up with him that I was realizing I was doing something and I didn't know I was. And that was getting up in the night when it was New Zealand time to like pee because it wasn't the night time, it was the morning. So my whole body clock had been off this whole trip and I hadn't realized it. So anyway, my friend was awake. He was down the hallway and he was just sort of waiting for me to wake up. And he's like, God, you sleep ages. And I was like, I actually think I'm finally on Thailand time. But the thing is, I got up at 3 a.m. Thailand time to pee, knowing that it was New Zealand like 8 a.m. But then also went back to sleep and went into that disgusting like heavy sleep where you can't wake up. And I looked like a bag of shit. I was like, oh my God. I felt lethargic and hungover and just like, I need a minute, like I couldn't work out why I felt a bit off, and it was a weird off. It wasn't like Bali belly, which is a no-in stomach condition where you just get like the butterfly in the tummy from the water. This was like I can't breathe. I feel like I've got this heaviness on my chest. And so I just basically said to him, look, can we just take it easy today? Because I think I'm like coming down with something, but I think it's just like the overwhelming excitement of being in another country with him. And then I was just exhausted. I said to him, look, can I just drop off some washing? I'm running out of clothes. Can we get some breakfast, like something really hearty and yum? And then we'll just go about the day. So I don't actually remember what we did for breakfast that morning. I can't really remember like if it was anything decent. I'm kind of thinking that we sort of started. So where we were in Kuta there's like this big giant square where the roads are all one way. And so we were staying opposite a road that I could not tell you what it was. I'm very familiar with it. And there's like this really cool shop called Bargus Watch, which is like 4 stories high. He had never been into a shop like this where it was all fixed price, but I mean like luxury goods. Like it's still disgustingly cheap, but it's just like the quality is so much better. So I was already doing shopping. It was like barely 8 a.m, and here's me like walking around just thrilled to be in Bargus Watch again. I was messaging Mum. I was like, do you want anything from Bargus Watch? Because she'd been there as well. So yeah, I did a bit of shopping. I think I brought my glasses and some fragrances from there. So we were in the vicinity of this really cool little restaurant where I think we were just really spoilt for choice. And I'm going to find out where I was because this street just has the most amazing eateries. It was like I had a breakfast burger and a coffee and we got free juice. The actual venue was stunning. I just was so obsessed with this stupid friggin' cafeteria thing. I couldn't really describe it. It's kind of like a restaurant / cafeteria. It was just like it had my heart the whole trip. Anyway, we went for a bit of shopping and it was a lot of fun just, walking around and getting familiar with things were in Kuta. And obviously, it's like easy because we both know how to barter for things. So we both know how to just like say a price and walk away and they follow you and then they try and offer and it gets lower and lower and lower and it's just exciting. So there was a little bit of shopping to be done. We managed to go to a cash machine. I don't know about you guys if you're familiar with the Indonesian rupiah. It's such a fuckery. Like $10 is $1 million note. And so when I was in this little ATM machine booth, which is air conditioned, I sort of struggled with withdrawing money that many times. I had to ask for him to come in just to make sure the decimal point was in the right place. The first time I withdrew money, I withdrew 7 New Zealand dollars. It was $10, like their money. I was like, fuck, I got the decimal around the wrong way. So yeah, look, I probably had to be monitored this whole trip just because I was making some shitty friggin' transaction choices. But anyway, we managed to get to like a really cool mini mart, grab some drinks. And that first day we just kind of like went to a really cool place that had a margarita tower for lunch and just chilled by the pool all day. Like it was a real catch up, just get drunk, just like, hear about the adventures I'd been on, but also see what he'd been doing. And it was just so nice. And then I couldn't tell you what we did that evening. I think, actually, you know what it was? It was State of Origin, the Australian league. So it was New South Wales, Queensland. We'd actually made a booking to go to a venue. And it was kind of cool. Like, it was just, sitting with a bunch of Australians watching the league. So it was easy. But there was weird shit that was going on around us. I'm talking like a mother that was talking to her children so belittling that I actually wanted to say to one of the daughters, you're beautiful. Don't listen to what your mother's saying, because she was manipulating and being highly vindictive. And I was just like, I am like going to snap in a minute. I'm getting a little bit too like antsy with this woman. She was leaning into her kid and saying some horrible things, and I could hear it. So, and then there was this random girl sitting to my right, and I just cracked up laughing because I couldn't work out if she was sitting with her sugar daddy or that was her dad. So, but then another older guy joined them on the table, and I was like, I'm confused. Probably best I get back to the hotel before I get like, a whack. But when you start noticing things, I don't know, it's a weird thing. So anyway, that first day was relatively chill. I really enjoy just kind of swanning about in a swimming pool with an inflatable ring, just, catching up, and it's just so easy. It's just like, there's no words. So anyway, the next day I woke up and I was death, like not from hungover death, because obviously we'd been eating really well, and the dinner the previous night we were eating birria tacos. And if you know, birria tacos are like delicious. But yeah, look, I was just so unwell, and it wasn't hungover. It was like, I can't breathe. My chest is closing up. So we decided to get out of the hotel and actually make a bit of an effort to get scooters, like hire scooters. Now, look, I know, don't come at me about this, all right? But I'm pretty confident on a scooter, and I do, follow the rules, and I wear my helmet, and I'm very safe and blah, blah, blah. So we got the hotel to get us these scooters so we could trust that we weren't going to be pulled up for extra damages. It was like super easy and like trusting. And we went to Uluwatu. Now, Uluwatu is near a cliffside, so there's like monkeys. It's like really great surfing. I love Uluwatu. I don't get to spend enough time there. The journey there was a freaking nightmare. Ask my friend, who is a very conditioned scooter person. He hated it. He was like, that was a nightmare. Anyway, I'm sitting at this beautiful venue. Like, I'm having this Coca-Cola. Like, that's how hungover or like sick I'm feeling. I can't work out what's going on. I went into the bathroom. I didn't know what end was going to go. I was thinking, am I going to shit myself? Do I need to like spew? Like, what is even happening? So I walked out of this bathroom and I saw this ginormous swimming pool. And I just said to my friend, look, we didn't bring towels. It's fine. I'm not really in swimwear, but like, let's just get in the water. Like, I might feel better if we just get into a pool. So we start ginning around, the actual people that own the establishment are chasing us because our belongings are in the wrong areas and blah, blah, blah. So anyway, we stayed there for about 20 minutes, and it felt like it was like the best thing I could have done, to be fair. I just felt really like happy. It was like the fresh air, the sunshine. It was weird. But anyway, on the way back, we decided to pop into like a convenience store just to see if I could get some Gaviscon or antacid tablets. I actually didn't know if I had heartburn or if I was genuinely just like, it was like stomach acid. I don't even know. I just felt unwell and I was trying everything. Like, I'm back to that whole situation where I was taking photos of the medication that was in the convenience store just to have ChatGPT tell me what the hell it was for, because didn't know where a pharmacy was. Shitloads of traffic, you're on a scooter, you just try and do your best, So I managed to find a few Gaviscon tablets, a couple of antacids, and it kind of didn't really touch the side. We get back to the accommodation and I'm lying on this day bed. My friend's in the water. He's like having a vodka Coke out of this huge vessel, like a glass. And I'm thinking, I want to do that. Why am I feeling so cooked? So I'm lying on this day bed and I'm crying. I'm just like, I don't want to be sick. I don't want to feel this way, blah, blah, blah. And so I sort of started doing some Googling and I was like, surely it's not the room. Surely. So lo and behold, I started looking into it, and like this hotel kind of had a few reviews that were questionable at best. But there was a few discussions about black mould spores or like non-ventilated areas, dampness, air conditioning machines that weren't doing the right things, blah, blah, blah. My friend actually was adamant that there was a poo in his drain and that just the smell just kept permeating through his hotel room. And so he was really shitty about that. He was like, I'm trying to push past the fact that there's a poo in the drain, but I don't know how to say this. I'd had enough, so I just sort of stood up from the day bed, walked over to the reception area, and I said to the girl, look, I'm not going to be nasty about this, but there's something in this room that's making me feel very unwell and I just need to move. I need a different room. So she says to me, no, that's absolutely fine. We actually have the refurbished side of the hotel, which you could move to. It'll be, I think she said 28,000 rupiah, which is basically $7 a night, so 28 New Zealand dollars. And I'm like, okay, like just do that, you know. And then I leaned over to my friend and I was like, she's going to change me to a refurbished side. Do you want to come to that side or do you want to stay where you are? And he's like, how much is my change? And his one was like the same. So I started packing up and I started like pulling up the sheet cover on my hotel room bed. And it was just like pretty gross. Like, we're not going to go into it because you guys will freak out. But the pillows were like 10-year-old pillows where people had sweat and they had never been cleaned and just the pillowcase had been changed, but they were dense. Like the feathers in the middle of the pillowcase had just turned into this horrible, I couldn't even describe it. But there was actually reviews that said that people had pulled off the ventilator fan covers from in their rooms and they had been masking the smell with car deodorizers. And I just stood there, I was like, get me out of here. So we went over to the other side of the hotel, which we were calling the rich side, and the other side was the poor side. It was kind of like nothing could save it. I don't know what it was, but within half an hour of being in the new room, I felt 100 million times better. I think, was it stress? Was I anxious? I don't know, but I actually just could not breathe. I was feeling highly sick and it's just one of those things. If something's not right, it's obviously got to change. And so, like my mum says, you don't know what you don't know. So we just kind of like moved rooms and didn't really think much more of it. We just kind of got on with the trip, which was great because that night I continued just being adventuring and you know, seeing all the things in Kuta that we'd obviously enjoyed, you know, being part of many years prior. But I couldn't believe it. I was like, I've literally never stayed in a hotel room that's made me sick, or one that's like I've even had to question if there's like black mold that's just kind of asphyxiating me. Like I'm gasping. I can't breathe. It's wild, isn't it? So anyway, there's been many times while we're on the balcony of our new rooms looking over at the other side and people had been sitting there and they were coughing. And I just wanted to reach over and just be like, you're in the side that's going to make you sick. I don't even know who to tell, but it's like, get out of that room if you can. But you kind of can't say that to travelers and stuff. They'll literally pay next to nothing to, you know, just have a room. I don't know. It's hard to describe. So we kind of said a few things every now and then. We kind of kept to ourselves. It was just kind of like, if they think that they're having these coughing fits because, I don't know, a night on the cigs or whatever, then that's fine, but it's not the case. Like, potentially there is something on that side that's making everyone unwell. I don't know. I did try and share as much as I could about it, but anyway, that Bali trip was weird because everyone assumed that we were going to get into miles worth of trouble, but we're old now, you know, we're just two people that love enjoying spending time with each other and catching up and just drinking. Like, I know I can trust him when he's on the beers. He can trust me. It's like no one's going to get mad or retaliate and snap or bloody fly off the handle. It's just easy. But throughout the whole trip, so once we got moved to the new room, we actually had a whole wing to ourselves, a wing of the hotel, which is fantastic. My room was the end room, so I could lie there with my door a little bit open, and that's how he knew that he could come in and just kind of annoy me. So the doors in the morning would kind of catch on the tiles, and I knew when he was leaving his room to go get his morning coffee. I'd get up, go to the toilet, open my door, jump back into bed, and every single morning, without even saying, he would literally message me and say, I found a new coffee spot, what do you want? This is the menu. And he'd just do it. And I was like, I love the fact that I was solo traveling because it was my decision to do these things. But I love the fact that he was like, just, you know, do you want something? What are you up to? I'll come to you in a minute. And like he would just come and sit on my bed, would sit there watching TV in another language and just drink our morning coffee and just catch up, make a plan for the day. Like, I loved it. I loved it so much. And people will say, you know, well, that's what a partner's for. Well, I get the best of both worlds. I get the independence and I get him as a bestie. So he can do things for me and it's really helpful. But, you know, he's so forward thinking that sometimes it pisses me off because I can't beat him to the punch. You know, I can't do things for him because he's already thinking of things. So there was actually a situation where he was doing he went to go and get a State of Origin singlet from one of the vendors and he was gone, but I was actually walking behind him. He didn't realise. He literally said to me, I'm just going to go get a singlet and I'll meet you where you find for happy hour. So I was walking behind him. I turned off and found this really sweet wee venue that had 2-for-1 cocktails, but also the most delicious Vietnamese rolls I've ever had in my life. And I mean, I had 6 portions of these damn things. Like, that's how good they were. So that speaks volumes. I mean, Vietnamese rolls are weird anyway. They're like little freaking condoms filled with vegetables, but this was amazing. Anyway, I thought, I'm going to beat him to the punch here, and I'm going to order something so that he actually enjoys it. So I did. I got him a couple of cocktails and some Vietnamese spring rolls, and they were so good, and he loved it. And I was like, yes, so he can bring me some coffee in the morning. I'll bring him some cocktails. It's how it works, you know. But yeah, it was just little things like that where I was super appreciative to have him there. I definitely would do Bali by myself. It'd be super easy. It's just more fun with someone to just kind of help guide the train. I mean, by that stage I was like, I could have just stayed in the room by myself the whole 6 days. I could have gone to a retreat. I could have done bloody anything. But the fact that he managed to come all that way and spend 6 days just hanging out was like the best thing. But there was like a little list of things that we'd managed to, put aside there. If we ever ran out of things to do, I mean, these are some things that we could do. One of which was this stupid bloody $20 all you can drink margaritas, all you can eat tacos. Now look, if they say all you can drink, it's not going to be alcohol. So we had this whole mission to Seminyak where this stupid bar was called Belvedere. And I was a little bit excited. We actually had a bit of an interaction with the girl on the door just before it opened. And I don't know what was going on, but I said to her, do you actually serve alcohol? And she wouldn't answer me. And I was like, oh, this is weird. $20 is $20. Like, who gives a shit? But I mean, we'd come, 20 minutes in the bloody Grab, which felt like forever because the congestion at that time in the streets was like chaos. Anyway, get to Belvedere and we go in and I'm like, what the frig is going on? And they gave us these like really delicious empanadas and I started asking for margaritas. And I was looking at my friend and I was like, do you taste the booze? And he was like, I don't know. And we watched them make a Long Island iced tea and everything that was put in the Long Island was pre-made in a jug and this jug was clear. And now look, if you know, but Long Island iced teas have rum in them. And so you kind of expect like something brown, maybe. I mean, are they using white rum? I don't know. It was all clear. And I thought, I'm slussed. Anyway, I started drinking this Long Island. I thought, this is weird. It kind of just tastes like flat Coke. So we started hopping onto the all-you-can-drink Heinekens. I think I had like 7. And I just was like, I can't drink any more beer. But the thing is, we had a couple of beers and then I started thinking, holy shit, is this zero beer as well? Like, is this establishment like passing 0% beer through a Heineken tap or is it even Heineken? Like, you start questioning everything. It's honestly like dining in the dark. You just like, what is happening? Anyway, we left after our 2-hour increment, which was fine. And it was really sweet because I was watching this girl across from us who was sitting by herself and it's unfortunate that near the end of the night, I did spot her and I was kind of keeping an eye on her because the girls to her right were being really nasty about the fact that she was just dancing by herself. She was sitting down, but she was like jiving, just absolutely in her own element. And I sort of walked up to her just as we were leaving and I just grabbed her and I said, do you speak English? And she was like, yeah. And I think she said something like she's come from Hong Kong or something. And I said, I've been watching you and I just want to say I'm so proud of you. Are you here by yourself? And she was like, yeah, I came here by myself. I don't know anyone. And I was just like, I'm so proud of you. Keep doing what you're doing. It's so good to watch. And she was like, thank you. I don't know what I'm doing. And I was like, yeah, you get it, girl. You just have fun. And she was so like happy to have had such kind interactions and just that support to just keep going. And I said to her, I've just done the exact same thing through Thailand and it's freaking hard when you just want to talk to someone and people aren't very open to communication. And she's like, yeah, I'm by myself. And like, I knew that she was just that's all that she really was focused on was the fact that she was by herself. And I felt bad for her, but anyway, we had to leave. And as we were leaving, the security was at the door and I was yelling out to all the bar staff and the security, I'm leaving more sober than when I came in. There were people that were like lining up to come in and I was like, don't go in, you'll get sobered up, it's bullshit. And it was just a whole thing. I couldn't work it out. It was weird. Belvedere, if you're going to Bali and you see a special like that, it's probably not what you expect. It was funny. Like, don't get me wrong, the food was amazing. I think my friend had 2 portions of their birria tacos. I fell in love with the empanadas. But the drinks, the drinks were a shit show. Absolutely. And I can't work out why Google reviews say such nice things. I'm like, are they getting rid of the negative reviews here or something? I'm pretty sure I left a negative review, but anyway. And there was actually a different venue just next door called Goat Bar, Goat. And that was weird. They had on the menu that they had the coldest beers in Bali. And I was like, yeah, as if. So we had them. They weren't cold. Anyway, as we went to leave, the girl said, can you give us a Google review? I said, yeah, 2 stars. She was like, did you really? And I said to her, yeah, it's all you're worth, 2 stars. And she pulls up Google right in front of me and she starts looking for the review. And I was like, it's not there yet. And she's like, are you going to leave 2 stars? I said, well, your beer's not cold. She was so mad. It was just like this weird aggression. Like, a joke's a joke, but I mean, if you're going to advertise something, make it truthful, but also, like, don't pull up Google right in front of me as though, like, you know, you're actually actively looking for something I've said. I mean, it was the weirdest, like, just, that's so strange. So strange. Anyway, sort of wriggled down a few nights of hanging out and catching up, and there's just, I don't know, it was so easy, and it wasn't even like, we actually look back now at this trip and we're like, did we do it wrong? Because nothing happened that was dramatic. The last night was probably the funnier night because we were running late for a few things. We'd put the wrong directions into our Grab Uber app, and we were on the back of these scooters and the scooters dropped us off at the wrong location. So we had to run, I'm talking like a 5-minute run to get to the Bali Beer Bus. Now, the Bali Beer Bus is something that obviously we had thought we were going to end up on a lot earlier in the trip, but it didn't work that way, so that's fine. But it's this giant bus that's got seats and a table, and it's unlimited alcohol for $60. And you can drink beer, you can drink Smirnoff, they give you snacks, you can bring snacks. It's like the coolest thing. They even pass around an iPad so everyone gets to put their favourite music on. And then you get to sit on it for 2 hours and just go around the streets of Kuta. So we unfortunately ended up with, well, I say unfortunately, but it actually turned out to be the best thing ever, about 7 Koreans, South Korean people, and they brought their own KFC, and then they offered the KFC to us. Look, I could tell you a story about KFC, but I think I need to keep that one to myself because if the bestie decides to listen to this podcast, he'll shank me for saying it. But anyway, we had a funny interaction in the KFC, but anyway. These Koreans decided to share it with us, their buckets of chicken. And, they started kind of getting into it. And I think it's really funny watching different cultures try and, you know, have a couple of beers. Because I was thinking, they're going to get the old Asian flush where they break out in a rash or whatever. And I said to my friend as we got on board the damn thing, what's the bet they play Gangnam Style? They choose Gangnam Style. We thought it was a joke, but they actually actively requested it without us even saying. And so once we got round to the front of Kuta Beach, the Discovery Mall, there's a public toilet that we got to stop off and go use. And I was like, there's absolutely no way. Like, that's got to be the most busiest toilet in Kuta. There's no way. I don't need to go to the toilet, but so we start pulling away and Gangnam Style starts, and I just cracked up laughing. So, here we go. This is going to be the best karaoke ever. And so this guy starts singing, and he's fully into it, and it's just like he knows word for word. I put on a song that I could sing, and because I love karaoke, I'd sing anything. And so he handed me the microphone, and it was saturated. Like, this guy had gone so spastic at singing Gangnam Style, it was saturated in his saliva. I was like, oh, give me a bloody parka and a raincoat, because holy shit. We went around to this horrible food court, which, I mean, I was kind of anticipating that I was going to end up at a horrible toilet somewhere on this trip, but the stupid food court had the most horrific bathroom I've ever seen in my life, which I unfortunately had to use because your girl had put away about 10 Smirnoffs. But anyway, we got to take photos outside the bus, and that's where I was talking to them about what they were doing after the bus. And once we pulled up after the 2 hours, you know, people are steaming. I mean, drunk. I'm thinking, holy fuck. I had just sort of said to them, where are you guys going? And they're like, back to accommodation. Like, they didn't even know where they were. They couldn't tell their left from their right. So I said to my friend, let's just go to Burger King. We'll get something to eat and then we'll go again. So we go into Burger King. I can still see it in my head. We go to order, and he's obviously got a different order than me, so I go and sit down, and I start putting on this Burger King crown, and he turns around, and he just starts laughing. He's like, oh, my God, Danny, I can't with you. So he puts this crown on, And we finished our burgers, and then we nosed on down to some different bars that, if you go out in Legian or Kuta, it's a bit fucking scary. I mean, I don't really know how to describe it. It's like, is this really like safe alcohol is kind of the mentality. Like it probably is, but you question it. I don't know. So they gave us these drinks vouchers, and we ended up in there. We were drinking these big tall cocktail things, and we were still wearing a Burger King hats, and I had my sunglasses on. That's how wasted I was. We even brought our bloody Coca-Cola and our Burger King cups into the establishment. Like anything goes in Bali, honestly. You can get away with anything. So even between those types of situations, and I got my tattoos and he got his tattoos, and there's just everything's just so easy. I can't even describe it. So I'm super grateful to say that this whole 6 days in Bali was very calm. It was very collected. Nothing dramatic happened. Much to everyone's dismay that obviously we get up to trouble when we're together. We kind of still do. We have a lot of we egg each other on to do stupid shit, but it's not nasty. It's not going to hurt anyone. It's just pranks. So yeah, I think it was a bit anticlimactic. We came back and we just sort of stood there at the airport in Brisbane, and we just thought, oh, did we mean to just make it so boring? It wasn't boring. It was probably just relaxed. I mean, we had the treatments, we ate the food, we did the tattoos, we explored. I got sick, we changed rooms, we had amazing breakfast, which neither of us eat breakfast, so that was weird. He was doing things that helped me. He'd go back up to the room when we were down at the pool and get my bintang beers out of the fridge. And it was just, I don't know. I think that if you have friends and you can travel with them, just really embrace that, because obviously you're friends for a reason. And there's something so trusting and fun about travel with a friend. So I was really happy to have had that time with him. And it was kind of celebrating the 25 years of friendship that we do have together. But more so, the fact that, we can travel. We don't do it a lot. We don't even really talk about catching up like that. As say, I am long distance, have been long distance in his life more than I've actually lived near him. But I'm very happy to say that he is my best friend, and we had a wonderful couple of nights in Bali. Once I got to Brisbane, however, it kind of turned to a little bit of shit. I didn't tell anyone, but I decided to sleep at Brisbane Airport because we got in about 9 o'clock at night. It was about 8:30. And then by all accounts, my friend started getting a bit sick from the flight. So he went home and I just decided, well, shit, I've got to be back here at 5 a.m. I've got a flight at 5 a.m. to Sydney. So it's barely 6 hours. And I didn't want to disturb him and leave his house or anything. So I just stayed at the airport. Now, look, something you might not know is that at Brisbane Airport, you can sleep in the departure lounge or even the arrivals area. It is a warm environment. It's not air conditioned or anything like that. They do, turn all that shit off so you are cozy. And there's multiple security guards that just kind of stand there and make sure that no one steals your shit while you're asleep. So I didn't personally fall asleep for those hours. I was very much awake. But yeah, it was really nice just to kind of have that minute. I was kind of composing myself. I was like, shit, tomorrow morning being the big flight from Brisbane to Sydney to Queenstown, I need to be prepared for. I am going from domestic in Sydney to international, and that is a bus across the tarmac. So, it was a bit of a mission. Got to Sydney Airport. I started stressing because, again, you don't know what you don't know, but I was flying Qantas, and if you fly Qantas domestic to international, there's secret tunnels at Sydney Airport that they get you through. There's even a personal VIP bus that takes the Qantas passengers across, so you don't have to worry about, missing any sort of flights or whatever. And once you sort of get to that gate at domestic to leave for international, you can scan your boarding pass so they know that you're coming so they can hold the aircraft. It's super planned and prepared. I just can't. There's been types of things across this whole trip where it just opened my eyes to how they have made things really simple, where you would stress 100%. And quite frankly, I was. But in hindsight, it was Qantas knew that I was coming. So once I got to international, I got to the toilet, and my mum always says to me, just take a minute, go to the bathroom, have a wee, compose yourself. I put a bit of makeup on, I put a bit of skincare on. My skin was super dehydrated after flying from Indonesia through to Sydney. I was I've gone through 3 time zones, can't tell my left from my right. Got to the gate, I sat on the Sydney International Airport tiles and just like I was a shell of a human. I mean, they started boarding in separate groups. I was confused. I didn't know what group I was. I hadn't even looked at my ticket. These were things that were just not interesting to me. And the woman from Qantas walks up to me and says, "Are you okay?" And I just said, "I just need a minute. I've come in from Indonesia and I'm going home to Queenstown and it's been a lot because I've just travelled around Thailand and I just need a minute." And she was like, "Can I see your boarding pass?" And I was like, "I don't even know what seat I'm in." The boarding pass seat number is 29D. 29D. She says to me, "You know that's like the back of the aircraft." I said, "I don't know. I really don't know. I didn't even book this till like 2 days before I left Indonesia." And she says, "Can I have your ticket for a minute?" And I was like, "Yeah." And so she went away. And then she sort of gestured to me, like, "Come up to the counter." And I was like, what have I done? And so she not only gives me back my boarding pass, she says to me, "You can go through now." And I was like, okay. So I start going down the tunnel, get to the aircraft, and I look down and I'm in the emergency exit row. I think it was 12A, maybe 13A. And my heart skipped a beat. I was like, is she joking? And I was like, I was not sitting here before. And I think the dumbfounded look on my face, just the air hostess was like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, I don't know. So I'm sitting in the seat. They shut the doors. There's no one else in the whole row. There's just me and 3 seats. And she comes down and she says, "I think you need this space more than anyone." And I was like, oh my gosh, are you joking? Like, you're actually giving me the space so I can sleep. It was like, there's been experiences on some airlines where it's like, you know, some airlines cop absolute shit, but then this type of thing happens. And so they have these different food carts. So that one of them's the food, the next one's the drinks. So she's on the food cart and she gives me, so she says, "Do you want this or this?" And I said, "Oh, I haven't had like meat and veg for a while, so I'll do the beef, the mashed potatoes and the veggies." She gives it to me. She then hops onto the drinks cart. She comes down and she says, "What would you like to drink?" And I said, like, that was the nicest beef and mashed potatoes and veggies I think I've had ever. Like, compliments to the chef. So she goes away and she gets me another portion, like a second portion. She's like, "They've all been fed. Everyone's fine. There's leftovers. Here you go." And then she gave me a red wine and it was absolutely stunning. And I was just sitting there like, what is happening? Like, I am being looked after, not even asking for it. I just probably look like a piece of shit. We get to Queenstown and I get to get off the plane. She says to me, "Welcome home, Miss Wilson." And I burst into tears. Like, oh, it gives me goosebumps. I've told the story to a handful of people and it's just like, what even? Qantas came through for me at the golden hour where I was like struggling. I mean, there's no words, but also I'm highly appreciative and I gave back feedback on multiple different social media sites and different emails to just give compliments to that airline that day. I mean, they don't need to do these things. They really don't. And they do have nasty passengers sometimes. And look, speaking from example, even the flight from Indonesia to Brisbane, there was a woman who was seated next to another passenger's children. She coughed ever so slightly. The mother starts ripping her a new one in front of multiple people, saying that if you have a cough, you shouldn't have boarded the aircraft. Do you know, I would say maybe 10 people in rows behind this woman then coughed just to piss this mother off. And I was thinking, here we go. If this woman's starting to, retaliate now about a single cough, how's this airline going to function getting through to Brisbane, They even said on the intercom, be kind to one another. And this is what's happening. So for Qantas, kudos to you guys. That was phenomenal. And yeah, look, I did end up coming back to Queenstown. It was disgustingly cold. My pussycat Poe has missed me. He does remember who I am. I've been gone for 3.5 weeks. I'm very thankful for my mum for looking after my house while I was away. It was a little bit unnerving, obviously, with everything that had happened before I left, but I just need to keep putting one foot in front of the other. Multiple things happened that obviously threw me off completely, made me think, holy crap, if I needed to get home, it's a long way. I actually feel like I had a panic attack in Koh Tao just because I had gone too far on a boat. 3 hours from civilization up the Gulf to Koh Tao was it threw me off for a very long time. I thought, oh my God, if Mother Nature kicks off, I 1,000,000,000% have gone too far to give a shit. Like, there's no turning back, But yeah, so all in all, plenty of takeaways from this whole thing. I mean, more time spent observing a lot of people. I made some really amazing friends along the way. London and my Bangkok friend who actually had a birthday yesterday, and I messaged her and said I wish I could be there. She sent me back the invitation that she'd given to all of her friends, and she is hosting, she hosted last night an amazing function. I don't know if it was ticketed or something like that, but all the proceeds from her birthday party are going to rescuing animals in Thailand. So, I mean, you just can't make this shit up. Like, I make one friend within minutes of arriving in Bangkok, and this is the type of thing that she does, which obviously makes me feel really good because that just means that I attract different types of people into my life, and that's amazing. She's amazing. London, she's crazy. She's fucking funny. Like, oh my God, we're still friends, and I hope to catch up with her very soon. But yeah, like, for everyone that was part of the solo adventure, well, I am 100% going to do it again. I've already started initiating going back to Bangkok. I have unfinished business there, obviously. A whole lot more time to be spent in Koh Samui. And just like, I don't know, I feel like I've only just gotten started. I really am excited to go back and explore more, maybe go to places that are not so commercialized, like people don't really know about them. I want to go and have like a really off the grid adventure, like a journey that has, you know, no cell phone coverage, that you're just asleep on a bungalow on top of, is it Koh San Park or something? There's like a national park where it's just, I don't know. I don't even know how to describe it, so I'm not going to go there. But let's just say we're not finished on this. But as part of my series on my trip, this is it. We are cruising into episodes now that are going to wrap this season up. Obviously, lots has happened since I've been back. I am actively packing to move to Queenstown. Very excited. I've just done a drop-off at the local Salvation Army store. Full. My car was full. So that poor guy, he was just standing there like, this is really good stuff. And I was like, I can't be bothered selling it. I don't want to be that marketplace girl. I'm not that person. And also the Rotary Club, I donated a shitload of books to at the book exchange next to Stoker Room in Cromwell. If you're roaming around and you want some really good reads, I can guarantee once they organise that bin, the book bin, that's going to be full of some goodies. But no, it's really, really nice just to sit in the living room with the fire going after work and just obviously go through all my stuff and put things in boxes. Are they going to the new house? Are they going to storage? Are we getting rid of it? Like, I feel like even though I'm just about like 1 year off turning 40, I'm going through this really good transition right now where I'm just dissolving a whole bunch of shit that's been weighing me down. I'm really like motivated to change, to embrace my 40s. I'm super excited about it. People aren't, but I weirdly am, because 30s were great. So let's just roll that into 40s. But yeah, these are the types of things I want to talk about moving forward. So it's lots to discuss, but also, yeah, let me know in the comments if you want to hear about anything further. Obviously, love the engagement. It's been a wild ride discussing this journey. Obviously, it's kind of been really good to re-talk about it, but also I have almost not really talked about a lot of things. And that's just because it's my memory. It's my things to take away. It doesn't really need to be shared in certain aspects. But if people asked, or if people wanted opinions or advice or whatever, 100% I'll give it. But yeah. So anyway, this was my adventure. Signing off for another week. Have a great week, you guys. Keep warm, and I will come back to normal programming next Tuesday. Bye for now.